Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big, weird, wild world out there, folks, and here we stand. Al pie del cañón, ready for anything. I'm Rob, and you're listening to...
The Promo Show!
If you're one of the godlike podcast downloaders, then you have no idea of the screw-up I just made. How are we doing out there, folks? You're listening to a Promo Show live at our After Dark edition. So it's currently 6 p.m. Central European time. How are we doing? We've got an active chat right now. We've got Eugene, Vero, Decoy, Ladybo, Emily, and others. How are we doing out there, folks? If you're new to the stream, the Promo Show is an hour-long podcast that we record live right here on Twitch. This will be a podcast exclusive, so we can be a little more naughty than usual. All right. What do we have coming up in today's show? Oh my God, friends. Let me tell you. In today's 100 Humans, I asked them where people usually seek parenting advice. ¿Dónde suelen buscar las personas consejos sobre crianza? I think. Cri, 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 cri. You will tell me if my Spanish was any good there. Who hasn't screwed it up sometime, Rob? Good point, Vero. Good point. You screwed it because it's Blue Monday. Dude, I had no idea about the phenomena of Blue Monday until I heard one of the hosts on the radio station talking about it. So yeah, Blue Monday is apparently the most depressing day of the year, apparently. And you know what? I've been down today. I've been a down, miserable, egg-like human. And I'm going to blame it on Blue Monday. In today's Complete the News, we'll find out what some... We'll find out about some monkeys in Florida. And other things, if we have time. And today's unpopular opinion, modern parenting is too child-centric, leading to entitled adults. La crianza moderna está demasiado centrada en el niño, lo que conduce a adultos con actitudes de superioridad. Oh, did I get that right? Can someone tell me if I deserve a nivelazo, please? Let's see. Hello, good afternoon. We are on our way to Santander. All right, Bridge, how are you doing? Joining me on the road. I appreciate that. So, let's see what people are saying. A lot of good afternoons, hellos. Vero says, good afternoon, beautiful warriors around the universe and beyond. Oh! All right. Tell you what, I'm here, you're here. Let's see what's going on in the world, shall we? We've got some good news for you today. Neuroscientists find the chemical imprint that keeps love alive. Los neurocientíficos encuentran la huella química que mantiene vivo el amor. And no, it's not Rohypnol. It's not marijuana. It's not LSD. Neuroscientists at the University of Boulder, Colorado, by the way, this coming from Newsweek.com, have discovered a biological signature of desire in the brain, which explains why we feel stronger desire to be with certain people over others. This research involving prairie voles, ratoncito, if you want to say it. It's like a vole. It's a tiny little mouse, a little tiny little kind of creature. Found that dopamine, a molecule associated with reward and pleasure, plays a key role in this process. When voles are separated from their partners and had to overcome obstacles to reunite with them, their brains showed a significant increase in dopamine. However, this dopamine surge was not present when they were reunited with a random vole, indicating that dopamine is more active with a partner than with a stranger. The study also found that after being separated for an extended period, voles' dopamine response diminished, suggesting that a reset in the brain that allows for the formation of new bonds. Uh-oh. So see what this means, friends? Absence does not make the heart grow fonder, as your grandma may have told you. These voles are forgetting about each other. Let's see what people are saying. Oh, people are having a personal chat here in the chat. Ladybo doing some housework, listening while doing some housework. The Bridge listening while on her way to Santander. Vero says, monkeys in Florida equals Rob's elves. Maybe.
That gets the Probo stamp of approval.
I'll never tell you where I get the elves from. It's mine. How are we doing? Ravdos joining us in the chat after a while. How are you doing there, sir? All right, let's move on. More news. Okay, this is a good one. You know Subway, right, guys? Subway, the purveyors of sandwiches. Bocadillos aquí en España. Like in Spain, they distinguish between what is a sandwich and what is a long sandwich on a long bun. Bocadillo y sandwich. So do we, I guess, in the English-speaking world, we'd call it a sub or a sandwich, right? Sandwich being on square bread. Well, Subway, the purveyors of sandwiches or of Subway sandwiches. A Subway customer complained of numb lips after allegedly finding a white powder on a sandwich. This is coming from eu.rgi.com. Un cliente de Subway se quejó de labios entumecidos. Oh, come on, guys. This is some vocabulary right here. Después de supuestamente encontrar polvo blanco en su sandwich. Oh my God, guys. Subway, what are you doing? A customer at Reno Subway reported experiencing numb lips after biting into a sandwich, leading to an investigation by Northern Nevada Public Health. The Subway at 5015 South McCarran Boulevard was inspected following the complaint, which mentioned a white powder on the sandwich. Subway's person in charge revealed that they had received a new shipment of Parmesan oregano bread topping. You know, that Subway is going to be so busy now, just people snorting Parmesan oregano with the higher than usual content of Parmesan powder. Inspectors noticed the increased cheese to seasoning ratio in the mix, but found no construction issues or potential physical hazards in the food prep area. The health agency couldn't verify the complaint at the time. The Subway has not commented on the matter. You're just gonna get people in there off the street sniffing lines of Parmesan off of each other. Going crazy in the old Reno Subway. Rob, numb lips, says the Bridge. That's because she hasn't eaten razor bread. Oh, dude, razor bread is a weapon. Like, people in outside of Spain listening to the show, you have no idea of the abject pain and torture that it is to eat Spanish bread. It doesn't crumble, it shatters, sending spikes of bread-like substance into your brain and immediately killing you. Terrible. Subway's the new underworld, says Jeffa. How we doing, Jeffa? Okay, where else? I know a lot of love in the chat for everybody. How are you doing, guys?
That gets the Probo stamp of approval.
So nice to be back doing the Probo show after dark and seeing so many of you there. Oh, it warms the heart, man. It warms the heart. Okay, one final piece of news. Let's move into a bit of astronomy, not astrology. I'm not going to talk about, I'm not going to read your future or any nonsense like that. No, astrology. No, astronomy. God damn it. I don't even know which one's which now. A newly discovered cosmic megastructure challenges theories of the universe. This is coming from The Guardian, a new discovery made out there in space. Una megastructura o megaestructura cósmica recién descubierta desafía las teorías del universo. I am not getting a single nivelazo from you people. What is going on in the world? I think I'm doing a great job. I'm going to give myself one.
¿Será posible? Vaya nivelazo.
I'm just going to give myself one. Astronomers have discovered a massive ring-shaped cosmic structure named the Big Ring. Funny. I used to date a girl. No, never mind. Oh, sorry. How are you doing, Jamar? 1981. Hi, Bohemians. How are you doing, Jamar? Welcome. Astronomers have discovered a massive ring-shaped cosmic structure named the Big Ring, which challenges existing theories of the universe. This structure, with a diameter of about 1.3 billion light years, oh, that's about the same distance British people like to stand away from each other when we talk. There you go. You are well deserved, Rob. Thank you, Bridge. Okay, remember, there's no natch. You have to tell me if I deserve a Nivelata. 1.3 billion light years is one of the largest ever observed and is located more than 9 billion light years from Earth. Its discovery, led by PhD student Alexa Lopez at the University of Central Lancashire, contradicts the cosmological principle which posits that the universe is homogeneous and identical in every direction on a large scale. The Big Ring, along with another large structure called the Giant Arc, exceeds the current theoretical size limit of 1.2 billion light years for cosmic structures. These findings suggest that our standard model of cosmology might be incomplete or in need of a complete overhaul. Get ready. Alien theories are coming. If I was reading this story with my co-host Andrea, man, that's because of the aliens, Rob. I know you're thinking it. Feel shame. Thank you, Ravdos. I will indeed hydrate. All right, guys, on that note, let's move on to today's unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
Okay, it's unpopular opinion time. Time for today's brain fat, today's pedocerebral, today's pedomental. Today's brain fat is, or today's unpopular opinion is, modern parenting is too child-centric and leads to entitled adults. La crianza moderna está demasiado centrada en el niño, lo que conduce a adultos con actitudes de superioridad. Modern parenting is too child-centric, leading to entitled adults. Woo! Okay, so I did ask people on Instagram. I dropped the poll. Let's see what people said. Okay, I'm seeing like a mix here in chat. Emily saying absolutely not. Vero saying true. Woo! But what did Instagram say? They said 93% true. Ooh, Toma. As you know, I'm an expert on raising children. You know, I have dogs exactly the same, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, except you leave the balls on the table or something. I don't know. I don't know what kind of leashes you use, but it's practically the same. Practically the same, right? Okay, so yeah, obviously, I have no children, so what do I know? We're going to get into this debate anyway. I thoroughly tortured the elves this morning, and they gave me some pros and cons with regards to this subject. Let's get into those right now. In the pro column, agreeing that modern parenting is too child-centric. Overemphasis on self-esteem. Modern parenting often focuses heavily on boosting a child's self-esteem. This approach can sometimes lead to an inflated sense of self-importance in the children, and as they grow up believing they are exceptional without needing to demonstrate exceptional effort or behavior. Next point, some argue that contemporary parenting styles shy away from setting firm boundaries and enforcing discipline. This leniency can result in children not learning to respect authority or understand the consequence of their actions, fostering a sense of entitlement. God, this is like reading a child psychologist write about me. I feel so special right now. Okay, let's continue. All right. Sorry, I don't mean to be flippant. I know a lot. I can see Emily's getting heated right now. Okay, let's continue. With the rise of technology and consumer-driven culture, children often get what they want immediately. This environment can impede the development of patience and understanding that some goals require hard work and patience. And next and final point in the pro column. In some modern families, children are less involved in household chores or responsibilities without duties. Children might not develop a strong work ethic or appreciation for contributing to a communal effort. Woo! So there are your pro points. Those 93% of the people that voted true. probably in some way that is what they are thinking. And we'll get to the comments in the chat in a little while. Let me just continue on with the cons now, saying no. Modern parenting is appropriately child-centric. It does not lead to entitled adults. Let's get into this. Okay, so here we go. Emotional intelligence. Modern parenting, with its focus on understanding and validating children's feelings, helps in developing emotionally intelligent adults. Children raised with this approach tend to be more empathetic, self-aware, and better at handling interpersonal relationships. You know, if they ever deem it appropriate to meander outside and socialize with other human beings, maybe the better. Oh, hot take. Sorry, let's continue. Child-centric parenting allows children to explore their interests and passions, fostering creativity and independent thinking. This can lead to adults who are more innovative and self-motivated. Next, modern parenting styles often lead to stronger emotional bonds between parents and children. This secure attachment lays the foundation for healthy adult relationships and stable sense of self. And finally, here we go. Final point in the con column, disagreeing with today's unpopular opinion. Today's world is vastly different from previous generations. Child-centric parenting might be seen as necessary adaptation to prepare children for the unique challenges and opportunities in the 21st century. All right, guys, there we go. That's our unpopular opinion for today. While we're in the break, I'm going to ask you to vote true or false. Modern parenting is too child-centric, leading to entitled adults. As you know, guys, I don't have a horse in this race. I will tell you this, though, my dogs are terribly spoiled. So if I did have a child, you can only imagine. All right, let's see what people are saying in the chat. The Bridge with an absolutely not, she says. No way. Vero says, true, some parents are so focused on giving their children everything that children may come to think that everything is possible. This leads to wayward children who are difficult to please. Can we argue that there's not a little bit of truth to that? No matter your style of parenting, you've got to admit, spoiled children have always existed. Usually those you say in Spanish, un niño o niña de papá, right? Oh God, I'm going to give myself a...
¿Será posible? Vaya nivelazo.
Come on, dudes. That wasn't even the translation, Alf. That was 100% me. Leading to spoiled or entitled adults. This has happened across generations. Is it happening more now? Is it not? I mean, I very rarely interact with children, as little as possible. If there are children around, I'm usually in a corner, scared, in my happy place. So you tell me. Let's get into this. Emily says, the problem is that well-meaning parents are still using bribes and terrible methods that are not what they are supposed to. True, parents are growing little tyrants, says Jamar. Child-centric, why would one be centered on a child if one were trying to raise one? Emily says, I have children, as do quite a lot of the people in the chat, Emily. Let's see. Dogs, cats, spiders, children are all practically the same. Thank you, Eugene. I thought so.
That gets the Probo stamp of approval.
I thought so. It's the same thing. You give them food to eat. You take them on walks so they can poo on the pavement. Having a child is practically identical to having a dog. Thank you, elves. Thank you. Problem solved. Emily, you have to teach them how to emotionally regulate and maintain boundaries you set. People do not know how to properly set boundaries with their children. Most adults don't even know how to regulate their own emotions, and children copy what is modeled at home. Jamar seems to completely agree with Emily there. Times change, and therefore parenting styles must also change, says the Bridge. Emily continues. I am trying to get emotionally regulated and teach my children. However, my husband does not care, and he is an ass. I have a feeling your husband and I have a lot in common. Because if I had a kid, I'd be the same. I'm going to be honest with you. Rob, were you to have a child, it would most certainly be interesting. Yeah, poor thing. I mourn it now and it doesn't even exist. Spoiled child equals niño mimado. Thank you, Vero.
¿Será posible? Vaya nivelazo.
Decoy says, what was that old English saying? Spare the rod and spoil the child. Oh, God, dude.
¿Será posible? Vaya nivelazo.
I'm on fire today. Spare the rod and spoil the child. It's basically, it's an idiomatic expression that means, that a child needs discipline. You've got to discipline your child. Ravdos says, that definitely makes it harder, Emily, not having a spouse on the same page, or worse, one that plays the fun parent, leaving the other to be the law and order parent. That is exactly what I would do. I don't care. I don't care. Rue the day that I have a spawn. I will definitely be the fun parent. I know I'm laughing. But I don't care. You know what I mean? But if I have children at my age, I'll be way dead before they're a problem to society. You guys will have to deal with it. Okay. While the other plays the fun parent, leaving the other to be the law and order parent is a recipe for problems. I know it firsthand. Thank you, Ravdos. But you didn't steal 350 plus in piggy bank money for cigarettes and soda from your children. So you aren't that kind of ass. Oh, naughty Mr. Emily. But I definitely would if I needed cigarettes and alcohol. All right, so there we go. That's today's unpopular opinion. Modern parenting is too child-centric. Okay, now this isn't an opinion of mine. As you know, we're just dealing with off-the-cuff unpopular opinions now. I've run out of my own unpopular ones, and I don't have a horse in this race. What I will say, with regards to modern young adults, which I think are pretty much reference when people talk about entitled adults, talking here about Generation Z, right? As you know, I have this weird fascination with them. I think they are amazing. I think they're a generation that knows their value. I think they're a generation that, understand that the future promised to them isn't the future they'll receive. They're not going to buy a house. Going to university isn't going to guarantee a job. The prospects of finding a long-term partner seem to be pretty much in doubt or questionable at best. They're a generation lost. And the way they handle it, they're becoming a much more creative, a much more centered generation, as far as I'm concerned. And I know you might disagree with that. As Grandpa Bo used to say, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. They all stink, including mine. But I do honestly believe that. I have great hope for the future and for the generation that will occupy it. But it cannot be denied that there is a certain sense of entitlement. But who is casting that stone, right? Who is the one saying, well, this generation is entitled, that one is not? I mean, it's us, right? The older generations. In many cases, generations that could already afford to buy a home, that already went to university, already got the job, stayed in that job for most of their lives and retired. These things aren't even possible for my generation. I'm never going to retire. If I'd have known that as a kid, would I really have worked? Would my work ethic be the same if I understood the realities of the future that was awaiting me? If I understood that if I studied down a career path, that career path by the time I left university might not exist anymore. I mean, we're quite quick to bandy about the idea of people feeling entitled, right? But what are people actually entitled to? Certainly not a job anymore. Maybe not even a home of their own. I think entitlement's interesting. It's an interesting phrase that for sure we're going to dig a little deeper into in the next part of the show. Let's see. Emily says exactly. We were told to do something with an outcome promised, and it isn't the case. So it's like, screw that and go your own road. You aren't a boomer, Rob. No. I'm Generation X. But even Generation X, they're not going to retire. I can't afford to buy my own home. You know what I mean? But are younger generations more entitled? Do they believe that they have something, or they are deserving of something that is just not there ready for them? I don't believe so. If anything, the things that I think younger generations complain about are quite valid, because the societal structure of what we were told that was what we were expecting from life is just not true. If anything, this is the most realistic generation ever. All right, there you go, guys. That's today's unpopular opinion. Don't let me sway you. You heard the pros and cons. I'm going to post a poll in the chat, and you guys are going to tell me, is modern parenting too child-centric, and is it leading to more entitled adults? I have some comments here from Instagram. You guys can let me know what you think about those. But all that after the break. Guys, so many things you could have been doing today, but instead of doing those things, you took the time to spend some time with me, and it means the world. See you soon.
The Promo Show!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show on this this very special Probo Show After Dark. We'll be back with another After Dark episode on Wednesday at the same time. If you're one of the many people watching the stream, you get another chance to participate in the evening. I've got to say, I have a special place in my heart for these evening editions, these evening recordings of the Probo Show. A big thanks to all the people in the audience interacting. Emily, Alice Diarre, Carmen, Donk Decoy, Donre, Eugene, Jamar, KND, Laura, Lux, Emily Ravdos. If I didn't read out your names because there's so many names. Vero, The Bridge. Oh, there's Tonya. How are you doing, guys? Thank you. You guys get...
That gets the Probo stamp of approval.
Elves, give them a round of applause, will you? Doing God's work in the chat tonight. So many of you out there. And finally, Con, we've got people from all over the US, from South Africa, from the Netherlands, from Spain. Guys, what an international crew we've got. If you want to join the fun, you can do that every morning, 8:30 to 9:30 Central European Time, on this channel, twitch.tv/Professional Bohemian. Or you can download the podcast. A new podcast goes up every single day, and occasionally, at least once a month, we do our Probo shows after dark, just because it's a more convenient time for everyone to get together. All right. So if you just tuned in, what did you miss? We spoke about a Subway sandwich customer who complained about numb lips after seeing a white powder on his sandwich. It was Parmesan, man. It was Parmesan. Don't get too excited. We looked at a new cosmic discovery, a megastructure that challenged the theories of the universe. A big ring, about 1.3 billion light years in diameter. Interesting stuff. And we found that neuroscientists have discovered the chemical imprint that keeps love alive. And what is it? It is dopamine. The same thing you get when you click that like button. Or when you leave a review on the Probo Show podcast. It's the same one. It's the same feeling. If you ever did that. If you haven't done it, then try it. You get the love chemical. All right, let's move swiftly on to today's unpopular opinion, which was modern parenting is too child-centric, leading to entitled adults. So the decision makers in the chat have made their decision. We'll get to that in a second. First of all, I want to get to their comments. I think okay. We finished off with Emily there. KND, how you doing, KND? Nice to see you. Says, I can remember I had a meeting with a union representative and we looked at pensions. Being allowed to retire and being able to afford to retire are vastly different. I'd be looking at 78 years of age before I can afford to retire modestly. And what is the upshot of that, KND? It means you're giving away a portion of your wage every month to something you may not even reach. It's gambling, as far as I'm concerned. I'm never going to retire. I'm going to be doing this until they until they shake me off the mortal coil like a dog would fleas, man. I'm going to be doing this. The bridge, I don't know, Emily says they want better and they're not afraid to tell people how it really is. That's in reference to younger generations and whether they are becoming entitled adults because of modern parenting. The bridge says, Rob, I agree with your opinion on Gen Z. The funny thing is, Eduardo, who is himself Gen Z, does not admire his generation at all. You know what I love most about Gen Z? Is you've got the boomers on one side. You've got the millennials and Generation Z on the other side. They both hate each other. The good thing about Generation Z is we hate all of them. It's the best thing. Yes, it is the first time I joined the chat. Welcome, Gemma. Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you. To see you, nice. Emily, I have to scrounge up lunch for the children. Both kids are sick with a cold, and I have to figure out if they are willing to eat real food. From what I know about parenting, Emily, if their noses are cold and wet, they're perfectly fine. I don't know. Seek advice from a veterinary surgeon. That's where I take my kids. The army has to stand beside their general, Rob, says Vero. Oh, Vero. Oh. In my opinion, modern parenting is in itself very vague. So many cultural and socio-economic differences to factor in. Or K&D, absolutely.
That gets the Provost stamp of approval.
What? Modern parenting is too child-centric. Have you ever seen an Italian household? I mean, geez. I mean, I was brought up in an Italian household. My grandmother spoiled me. I mean, I had pretty different circumstances. I wasn't raised exclusively by my grandparents. Everyone had a hand in it. My mother included, obviously, a big hand. My aunt, my grandparents. It takes a village to raise a child, as it were. But in Mediterranean families, children tend to be mollycoddled. When I first came to Spain, I'm talking like 20 years ago, when I was just 3 years old. When I first came to Spain 20 years ago, the idea, like, people or adults in their 30s were still living at home, not because of economic reasons, as it is now, but because, that's just what you did. You just stay at home. Stay at home where they've got all the TV channels. Anyway, let's continue. I missed the vote, says Con. How are you doing, Con? Par me easy and lol, says Emily. I do not understand that in the slightest. Am I too old? I think I'm too old. Aliens are out there. #real, says Conman, in reference to the mega ring that's out there in space. Retirement's more of a myth than reality anyways. It is for most of us, yes. Sadly. So, I did get some messages on Instagram with regards to this. Leo writing to us again. Honestly, I think there's some truth to it. We are coding kids to expect the world to revolve. We are coding kids to expect the world to revolve around them. It's not efficient for real world problem solving, Some truth to that, Vero. Leo, sorry. Now, one thing about being raised by, I don't know, what would my grandparents be like? Super boomers? Yeah, they weren't very much about participation awards. They weren't very much about praising nothing, telling me I was a special little soldier just because I could breathe in and out and I did potty on my own. They weren't about that at all. But in many ways, I think I'm, ask Ladybo, I guess, ask Izzy. I'm kind of a cold adult. I don't show many emotions. Well, I show two. Does hunger count? Hunger and grumpiness? Maria says, absolutely, I see it in my classroom every day. Kids need structure, not coddling. We're doing them no favors by making them think they're the center of the universe. Thank you, Maria. Jenna, I disagree. Letting kids express themselves and feel valued is crucial. Derek, there's something to be said for learning the value of hard work early on. I'm all for supporting kids, but they need to learn life doesn't always hand you what you want on a silver platter. Here we're assuming I mean, don't forget economically where we are in the world right now. You think parents can really, parents, like me and you, our economic situation, parents don't have enough money to probably feed themselves and the kids. They're not spoiling them. Oh, you know what I think a bit of this is, friends? I don't think modern parenting is all that vastly different from parenting when we were young. I think we see kids reacting to an economic reality and a sociological reality in the world that we either weren't aware of or it really wasn't as prevalent back then. And we're like looking at their work ethic and thinking, you should just slave away for your entire life, and the rewards will eventually fall upon you. And now we're adults. We know that's not the truth, right? Are we really going to like criticize them for realizing that at an early age when they can just enjoy their lives now? Do you know what I mean? Let's read some comments here in the chat. Emily says, yeah, my parents decided to buy a house, sell it after 30 years with upgrades for more than it was bought, and bought a new house for about a third of the sale price of their own. My stepmom was able to retire. Yeah, not spoiled here. I just want them to have a better childhood than I did, Emily. Thank you. Conman says, I'm going to be honest. I grew up in a child-centered household. I think it turned out okay, probably. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I see it. These Mediterranean families are very family, child-oriented, and you don't see that many maladjusted people. I think we're attributing, quite often, we attribute the realities of society and living in the world today with poor parenting. I don't think that's the case at all. Vero says, what are you thinking about today, Robert? You said my name out of the blue more than once. I'm flattered. Oh. Vero, every day you give me my introduction. So I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's get into some final thoughts. First thing, I'm going to release the results of today's poll. Let's see. Carmen here says low birth rates lead to raising children as if they were an endangered species. Ooh. Before we get to the results, that's an interesting topic. Let's be honest right now. Birth rates are stagnated. They're not, at least here in Europe, they're stagnated. We're on, it may seem like there are fewer, but we're still at maintenance levels. Not like places like South Korea where it's a real problem, Japan where it's a real problem. But it is quite right. You don't see as many kids as you used to do. So when you do see a kid, it's like, oh my God, a little baby. Oh, I haven't seen one of those in years. Yeah. Finally, best case scenario of this is that finally these overstuffed classrooms will eventually have an appropriate number of children in them. Not because there are fewer teachers, just because there are fewer kids. Candy says, I feel like the pressure on kids these days through fads and trends, which move very quickly through social media, create a lot of situations when parents can't keep up. So trying to please children with higher demands may appear to be more spoilt. Oof, K&D dropping some wisdom here. When I was a child, I rarely wanted for anything. The trends which put a strain on my parents come around due to magazines, etc., which were monthly issues. Now children feel left behind and ostracized or alienated by trends which come out almost daily. K&D.
That gets the Provost stamp of approval.
It's true. We blame modern parenting for the realities of the modern world, as I've said before. Before we get into this, let's go to the results of the poll. So I said that, what was the goddamn unpopular opinion for today? It was modern parenting is leading to modern parenting is too child-centric. La crianza moderna está demasiado centrado en el niño. Leading to entitled adults. Lo que conduce a adultos con attitudes de superioridad. Wow, that was a lot to get out of my British mouth. Okay, so I posted the poll in the chat to our decision makers. And what did they say? 57% true. It's a big shift that from what it was, 97%, I believe it was on Instagram. What was it? No, 93%. Yeah, and I'll accept that. I mean, I feel a little black and white on the issue. I'll be honest. I really do. I feel like, there's probably a little bit of mollycoddling, a little bit of coddling going on. But I don't think much more than in previous generations. I mean, yeah, modern families are not full of kids anymore, are they? We just read a news story earlier on today or in yesterday's podcast that there are ever more and more people at 40 years old, unwed, without children. The lucky ones, as I like to call them. So yeah, there is some truth to that, to the socioeconomic realities. There are fewer children out there. To technological realities, as K&D mentioned there. Like when I was a kid, I was like the demands that I put upon my grandparents were basically centered around what I watched on TV. And back then I wasn't watching that much TV. Now, they're getting advertisement and sales messages from everywhere. Something that certainly wasn't all that prevalent when we were young. And not only that, the pressures they have to conform at this early age. I have a niece. She's 9 years old, and she's asking me, and she has concerns about being pretty. She doesn't want to eat properly. She doesn't want to eat so much because she's frightened of getting fat. She's 9 years old, for Christ's sake. These are pressures that weren't put on us. We weren't worried about that. At 9 years old, I wasn't worried about it. I didn't even know weight was a thing. Yeah, I think we're very quick to attribute poor parenting or attribute things to parenting that are just realities of society. Sure, in some isolated cases, child-centric parenting could lead to entitled adults, but ask yourself, what does entitled mean to you? Okay? To feel deserving of something. Now, if your main gripe with younger generations is that they don't hold your work ethic, maybe the question should be, why do you? What kind of reward are you getting from busting your ass? And that's coming from me, and I bust my ass. Like, I've been at work by the end of this show, by the time I post it, for 13 hours. But I derive a lot of pleasure from what it is that I do. So maybe the question is, are younger generations entitled, or do you maybe have higher expectations given the reality of the world in which we live? There's what I think. But guys, that's just my opinion. And as Grandpa Boy used to say, opinions, they're like buttholes. Everyone has one, they all stink, including mine. That's today's unpopular opinion. Let's move on to 100 Humans. Oh my God, friends. It was a long walk to work today across snow-capped mountains and through river valleys. And on that walk, I encountered 100 humans. And I asked them all a question. Today's question was, where do people usually seek parenting advice? ¿Dónde suelen buscar las personas consejos sobre crianza? I asked them that question. They gave me their answers. I'm in possession of the top 7 answers right here. Your job in the chat is to identify those top 7 answers. I will give a big thanks to the people who interacted with this on Instagram. Pedro, Andrea, Carmen, Eric, Gemma Resino, Ismartin, Efe, Materia Oscura, CJ Barabas, Ravdos, and many, many more. Some fun answers here. Ravdos said, the Dr. Grams show.
That gets the Probo stamp of approval.
God, I hope people aren't taking real world advice out of this show, my God. Nowadays, AI says CJ Barabas, great answer. What else do we have? Materia Oscura, alcohol. I get my parenting advice from the bottle. All right, let's see what you people are saying in the chat, you fine people. People need to chill, says Conman. Yeah, I agree. Rob Graham's ass buster, says Ravdos in the chat. High expectations isn't a bad thing. I agree, Emily. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so where do people usually seek out parenting advice? Emily says friends. Friends. Did anyone agree with that? Yeah, Ravdos on Instagram said friends. Is friends there? Yes, it is. Well done. Friends is there. It's the third most popular answer, with 14 of 100 humans saying friends. Family, says Gemma. Family. Family's a great answer. But, well, look. Gemma says family. Emily says parents. Their parents, right? Your mum and dad. A bunch of people in the chat said their parents. You go to your own parents for parenting advice. So I'm going to give you that. Well done, well done. Parents is there. You go to your own parents in order to seek out advice on how to raise your kids. I'm sorry I was such a bad kid, Mum. No worries. Gemma also says the internet. Few people said the internet, actually. Andrea said Google. AI, I would consider, pretty much the internet. Ravdos says the internet. Internet says Gemma Racino. Is the internet there? Yes, it is. Well done. Surprisingly, quite low down the list. In 7th place, 6 of 100 humans said online. All right. Bartenders, says Emily. You're going to get...
That gets the Provost stamp of approval.
But sadly, it's not there. Decoy said parents and grandparents. That was there. School. School, says Eugene. Jeez, man. Eugene's from Russia. They're having kids while they're still in school over there. Okay, is school there? No, sorry.
¿Será posible? Vaya nivelazo.
All the buttons. All the buttons. School is not there. I'm sorry. KND says Mumsnet. Now, if I properly interpret what KND is saying there, they're talking about these WhatsApp groups that are all parents basically complaining about each other's kids and school. So, Mumsnet, is that other parents? I think so. And if that's right, yes, it's there. Well done. All right. You guys have identified 4 of the 7. All right. Spiritual advisor, says Conman. Church? What do you get? Advice for raising kids in church from your spiritual advisor? According to the 100 humans, you would. Well done. Church is there. 2 more to get. Church group said Emily as well. I'm seeing a lot of internet sites, TikTok, YouTube. Internet is a good one. Yeah. All right. All those are there. So I'm seeing therapists appear quite a lot. Is a professional therapist there? Probably should be, but it's not there in the list. Bueno, unless... I'll tell you what is there. Doctor. So yeah, go on. I'm going to give it to you. Doctor. Why not? Doctor. You can be a doctor of mental health as well. Why not? You've got 1 more to go. Okay, I'm going to give you a clue. I'm seeing colleagues, TV programs. Have some Murthian vodka, says Emily. Okay. Before the internet, Emily, as I was saying that, Candy says books. Is books there? Of course it is. Well done. Well done. All right, let's go through the answers. So I asked 100 humans to name places where people go to get parenting advice. In position number 7, we had online on the internet. In position number 6, we had a doctor. In position number 5, Well done, Con, for this one, and Emily at church, in a church group or your spiritual advisor. In position number 4, we had books, old school internet, right? In position number 3, we had friends. In position number 2, with 17 of 100 humans, other parents. And finally, in position number 1, your own parents. Well done, guys. Killing it. Killing it. Let's move on to Complete the News.
Complete the news.
Okay, this is Complete the News. I'm going to give you a real news headline, and you guys are going to try and complete the missing information with the 3 options I give you. If you're one of the people watching the show but you haven't interacted, this is your moment, because all you have to write is A, B, or C. Let's get into it. Here we go. So this is a real news headline from clickorlando.com. All right. These Florida monkeys could blank. Here is where they have been found. These Florida monkeys, estos monos de Florida podrían blank. Here's where they have been found. Aquí es donde se han encontrado. Is it A, these Florida monkeys could A, rewrite history, reescribir la historia? Ooh. Is it B, matar un caimán, kill an alligator? Or is it C, give you herpes? Darte herpes. What are you doing with the monkeys, Florida? Stop. Stop your monkey behavior. These Florida monkeys could blank. Here's where they've been found. Is it A, rewrite history, B, kill an alligator, or C, give you herpes? I know my audience, so is it any surprise they all say C? Give you herpes. Let's find out if they're right. So yeah, there is a place that can be found, these monkeys in Florida, that could... The answer is C, give you herpes. Well done, guys. No flies on you. Yes, Rhesus macaques, a type of monkey originally introduced in Florida to attract tourists, have become a widespread and potentially dangerous presence in the state. These monkeys, particularly concentrated in Silver Springs State Park, have been found throughout Florida with notable sightings in various countries. The primary concern is that these monkeys carry herpes B, a virus that can cause severe brain hemorrhage or death in humans through bites, scratches, or other things. Florida, stay away from the monkeys. That's all I'm going to say. All right, guys, there you go. That was today's show. Thank you so much. Don't forget, no live show tomorrow morning, but the podcast will go up as usual. Friends, thank you so much for participating today. What is being said in the chat? You guys are going crazy. I don't want to go into much detail, but there is a reason I knew the answer. All right, friends. Thank you so much for being with us. I'll be back again on Wednesday with another Probo show after dark, and Wednesday morning with a new Probo show at its regular time, guys. Thank you so much for hanging with us, and I'll see you next time.